Yesterday I said that I might come back today and play Potion Craft, and I was actually really ready in my head. Like for the rest of yesterday, I was gearing up to do that. And but here we are. I don't know today. Well, I'm starting later than I would have normally, but I guess I already mentioned that my schedule is kind of up in the air these days. But I couldn't focus, and I just wanted to play Our Life. And as you know, or maybe you don't know, I do a lot of coin flips to decide things. So I did some coin flips to decide like what task I should be working on. Because you know, there's other things I could be working on and need to get done as well. But here we are. I did coin flips, and the coin flip said yes to streaming no to Potion Craft. So here we are. We're going to continue the step 2 intro because I want to get through it. I want to play it and know what's going on so bad. As you probably noticed, there's this little star here, which is different. I don't know if you actually noticed or not, but basically, when the last save file you use is like shows up like do. That's the last save I used. So one of my other saves has this symbol, but not Kia's save, and so this is just to say that I've also been playing more anyway, but I haven't gone past this part. I can't get past this part. I want to get past want to do this part live. You know, it's got to be recorded, especially because I try not to trying to check too much stuff. But when I play with others on my own time, I'm like, what does this do? What does this do? What does this do? What does this do? So yeah, here we are. Everyone's well. I hope everyone's well. I won't talk too much here. I was gonna like, I don't even know. I was gonna talk about ideas and more media. I think when I play Potion Craft next time, I know I'm like talking over this. I'm gonna get to it in a second. When I play Potion Craft next time, I think I'm gonna try to talk about media. And I was thinking, because okay, so I keep mentioning that I really want to write an essay. And I have not written an essay. But I do have opinions on things. So I was thinking like maybe Potion Craft can be my media talking days, where it's like a rough draft of idea essays. So like, for example, maybe one day I'll talk about my problems with a show like I have a show in mind. I just wasn't sure if I should say it yet or not because I don't know. But I used to watch High School Musical, the musical series. I stopped watching it after season 3 for multiple reasons. Like I don't even think I had the same. Did I have access to it after season 3? I don't know. But we weren't watching it when season 4 was airing. But I still have opinions. And maybe I'll do a loose draft essay next time for Potion Craft on that. Or maybe I'll give a summary on what's going on in some of the dramas I'm currently watching. Or maybe I'll try a character analysis from one of the dramas I'm currently watching. But they're Thai dramas though. Just to clear that up. It's not the same. Okay. I don't know why I'm so laughy right now. But you know, if you've seen some of my other videos, then you've seen that this is kind of par for the course. All right, let's see. Is there anything else I want to say before I get started? Oh, I'm also considering, I guess I could have saved this for the end, but I'm also considering tomorrow that if I stream, usually I do a new demo, and this is a demo, so it'd be a new demo. But I was thinking maybe I'll actually play Potion Craft, like maybe for a little bit, maybe just for a part of the stream I'll play Potion Craft, then I'll do a demo. I was also considering playing Long Live the Queen and then Potion Craft. That was actually one of my plans for today, one of my ideas for today, but the thing is about Long Live the Queen is that it also depends on how how successful she is, because you know, if you don't do things right, she could die pretty early, but if you do things well enough, she can last the whole game, and that's the goal. And usually when I play, it takes me about a 3-hour session, unless she dies earlier on. So we'll see. Tomorrow's up in the air, as every day will be. I'm gonna try to have a more solid schedule in spring, but things will be changing consistently this month and January before I can actually get there. So we'll see. And then from February to like May, it should be somewhat solid. And then from June to August will probably be a little iffy, you know, but like from, maybe it's not May, maybe it's April. I have to double check these time frames. There's going to be some periods where things will be shifting and things will be staying the same, when, you know, that's going to affect my availability. But I'm going to try to get a consistent schedule. Like, I had a pretty consistent schedule for most of these last couple months. But yeah, anyway. Let's play, because I want to play Our Life. All I think about is Our Life. I'm so excited for when the game actually comes out, because one of the functions I really want to study is that character, the character dynamics, and how they might shift based on how you interact with the characters. You know, because hang on. The character dynamics, because during game you can set them manually, but they can also just shift based on how you interacted with the character in the previous step. And I want to study that. Like really, how do you, like, the way I'm playing with one of my characters, I'm very curious on if I play it actually, will that make Tamarack doting towards them in the next step. I'm so excited. One of my plans, when the full game comes out, I will finish playing Kia on stream. I feel like it's mandatory. I'm committing to it. I'm stating it here, even if for whatever reason I have to stop streaming for a while, or because, you know, my laptop is not my laptop has been breaking for like a good year now, and by breaking I mean the screen is kind of you know how hang on okay, you see the border on this, wait, do I have anything to drag around? I thought I did. Maybe it's in this folder. No, it's not in this folder. Okay, well, you see how, wait, move this. That didn't appear. I thought it would appear. Blech. So I have that light bluish border around this box. Pretend this box is the laptop screen, and the border is the edge of the laptop screen. Now, in this bottom corner next to me, imagine it is lifted. It's just lifted. It's just bent off. Like, it's not like, and it's lifted like, I need to show you what I mean. Hang on. I need to point it out. I need to point, and I can't point like this. Where are all my stars? Hello, you wonderful stars. Okay, this one, because this doesn't look like any of the stars I have on screen. Oh, and it's really big right now. Okay, well, why does it do this? What size did I make this? Control? Yeah. Okay. This is good. Oh, shoot. Ah, shoot. Okay, wait. No. It's not listening to me. Technology doesn't like me sometimes. Exhibit A, my laptop, which I'm tattling on right now. Okay. Okay, great. Oh, this is cute. Ding. I don't know. I like my little stars. I gotta decorate with them more. Because right now, I just have like these over here. That's fine. But I'm like, I made a couple of different color sets of these. And I very much like to use them. Okay, so like right here, it's peeled off. Like it's lifted away from it. And then like, you know, down here is still connected. And up here is still connected. But right here is peeled off. And my laptop is technically a touchscreen. But sometimes the screen is a little wonk. So if you ever like see my mouse just kind of like shaky, like just sitting there and it's like in one place, like it's probably the screen acting up. And I'll need to unplug my mouse and replug it in. Anyways, so my laptop might, I'm still waiting for my laptop to kind of just go out, fizzle out. And if that happens, then I will disappear for a short while, probably. I might be able to switch over to mobile, but what's mobile? Yeah, so even if that happens though, I will continue to do Kia on stream, even if I have to start over from the beginning. When the game fully comes out, we will see Kia from step 1 to step 4, even if I have to start over. But I'm also thinking, because as I've mentioned before, I want to also do Let's Plays. I think I will do a Let's Play as well with a different character. And I'm leaning towards Miles, because that's who I mostly play as on the side. I don't play as Kia too much because because Kia's the first one that I did on here. Oh, okay, but anyways, yeah, I gotta test out a character who's definitely gonna be contesting at the beginning. I haven't done that yet. But I want to see. Okay, one of the things I want to try testing out is like how these affect your dialogue options, like the option boxes that pop up, because they do change a little bit. And also just like dialogue things sometimes, like the way characters interact between things might be based on like where they are in one of these. Yep. Anyways, yeah, that was a lot of rambling. We gotta get a new fresh personality. Okay, here we are. Let's get to the game now that I've rambled on about nothing for like 10 minutes. Wow, already? That's crazy. Okay. Here we are. If I had a camera, which I don't ever plan on showing myself, but if I had a camera, I would show you that I have a little Sora amiibo sitting right here. He's just sitting right here. He's my friendo. No. Okay, I'm sorry. Anyways, that was sinking further into your psyche than you should. You decided, while shaking yourself out of a daze. Okay, what we basically just did right now, as a recap, is we actually determined these relationships. It talked about Chiyu and how they are currently, and then Tamarack and how she is currently, and Chiyu's like, I don't know how to describe it. But like, Chiyu was kind of in the stage of like, if I don't F with you, I don't F with you, you know? I don't know how to best say it, but like, you know, that's where they're currently at right now. They're working through their own stuff. They don't need everyone else's problems on top of their problems. And boys club is over. And also Chiyu's not a boy. And I'm trying to like summarize things. It was yesterday and I'm still like, you know, description. And then Tamarack is kind of like an outcast. Like the way they worded it in the description box is that she's more of like a visitor than a regular. But she's still our bestie. it's really funny because in a sense, like they're both Kia's bestie, but I think, like you got a choice for Kia. For Kia specifically, Tamarack was the first one to be like best friends, so she was like, yeah, best friends forever. And I think they suit each other very well. It's hard sometimes to describe because like there's so much I know about my character, and I just want to like, yeah, this, and that, but also want to just talk like everyone knows it, and it's like not everyone knows everything that I know. But anyways, that's what this is referring to, the how everything has changed, not just Chiu and Tamarack, but like the town and all that stuff. So yeah, that's what that. Let me continue on. I'll reread it because I immediately stopped reading it. I broke out a narrator character. Anyways, that was sinking further into your psyche than you should. You decided while shaking yourself out of a daze. You were at home, sitting on a lumpy chair that tried its best to be a shade other than tan. This chair. Sorry. Which it was. It needed a good lawyer to call itself cream orange or pale yellow. The building creaked without anybody doing anything. A ticking and a talking tapped at the back of your head. The place you lived was sort of the third member of the Connolly family. It had its own way of being. It had its own way of being and long-time quirks, while still taking after the parent and sister it received. In the time you'd lived there, you'd added a few of your own nicks and scratches to the house. Some of the old furniture was replaced with brand new old furniture from the local antique store and thrift shop. The wall clock was from the former, and the lamp was found at the latter. So lamp was thrift shop. The clock that we cannot currently see is the antique store. Chiu once said, "You couldn't tell the difference between what was sold in all those places. It was ancient either way. However, the gap in quality between those two was easy for you to see." Your wandering gaze went down towards the decorative branches in a vase, a cold fire of brown-red leaves, another sign of autumn. From there, you kept going until your focus was finally back to what you were doing. The tabletop was piled with books, packets, pencils, and stuff. And it magically all had to fit into a single bag, plus leave room for lunch. You began packing for school tomorrow. It wasn't any normal day of school. It was the first day. And it wasn't a normal start of a new year either. This was 9th grade. Sorry, are the sounds loud enough? Wrong thing. I don't want to make it like too loud, but I want it to be, audible. What was I doing? You were a high school freshman. Mama impressed upon you what an accomplishment it was, if the learning system was a triathlon. Yeah, I read that right. You were out of the water, off a bike, and lining up to begin the race. The learning system. I was like, wait, what are we talking about again? I'm sorry. Your mama wasn't especially sporty herself, so she offered as an alternative that if this was a movie or book, the third act would be just beginning. That was the best part. For as much as Mama hyped it up, your transition into the highest level of public schools wasn't as immense as it was for other 14-year-olds. You'd been attending Riverview Peak since grade 6, already with its gold, black, and navy official colors and beloved freshwater otter mascot. The district of Golden Grove was small enough that middle school and high school shared a building. That was always a relief. You had your school, and you'd stick with it until real graduation. It was whatever. Riverview Peak could have been better. It could have been worse. You felt good about that. You were well acquainted with those halls. Heck yeah, that place was a part of who you were. Go Otters! Same thing, but the heck is the actual HE double hockey sticks word. Was Riverview Peak awful? Yes. Did you want to risk going somewhere else? Nope. Not as if it mattered either way. Going to any school was miserable. This would have been a much better new year if you could have gone somewhere else. Kia's Go Otters. Yeah, Kia's she's very participatory. Originally in my story, I can share this part because it got cut from my story. So it's not spoilers. My story that is not anywhere. It's not coming soon, it's coming eventually. But in the story, she was head of the welcoming committee. And there was a couple ways that went in a couple versions. One, she was the self-proclaimed head of the welcome committee. And the other one, she was kind of like the welcome committee, but like she likely like kind of created that role still. But like it was official. The school called her down for the new student. It was like, here you are. But yeah, Kia, I don't know, I feel like that shows just how much she cares about her school. Because she's like, yeah, I'm going to welcome the new students. I'm like, yeah. Yeah. Anyways, Go Otters. You nudged a 20-page schedule between 2 textbooks, hoping it wouldn't get completely crumpled. The beginning of classes wasn't the only special occasion happening tomorrow. Golden Grove's middle and at the same time high school started slightly differently than its elementary school did. Excuse me. This semester, your first day of school shared the same date as your anniversary of moving here. It'd been 3 years and 364 days since your life became what it was. Then there was a groan. The house let you know you had company. Mama came out from the kitchen. It's so cool, like the house being like a character. It's like Loki giving Encanto, but like not, cause, you know, okay, like in Encanto, the house is a character, and there's also magic, and the house isn't magic here. But you know, Loki, I feel like if any of my characters, cause like okay, the story that Kia comes from is a very slice of life-ish type story in a fairly mundane world. But if there is magic in the world, Kia would definitely be a magic. You know, I started talking about the house, I'm talking about Kia, but magic, you know, and that's funny when I get the options to mention magic as Kia, because it's something I've considered before. It is. You know, mundane magic is almost like the best kind of magic. Okay. Sorry. Oh, look at her. And I've seen this before, and I'm still like, oh, look at her. She kept some distance, staying under the opening arch of the room, and she gave the side of her light-washed jeans a pat. Her shirt was a fall floral blouse. Ironically, she looked as fresh as a spring bloom. Good morning. Mama had let her hair get longer lately, beside the trim every few months. It got to just keep growing. That was new. Though, she still wore real opals wherever she went. Right now, she was having a necklace moment. The stone hanging from her neck. Oh, I forgot. Shoot, wait. Give me 2 seconds. Should I put something on the screen? Hang on. Hold the phone. I forgot that I wanted to do this. I guess it doesn't matter if you can see that I'm doing this, but yeah, I'm gonna put this here. Just give me a second, because I totally forgot. I forgot. I forgot to do something important yesterday, because I was supposed to have a whole week to do it, and then I started to do it right now. So give me a second, and I guess I'll just chat at you while I do this. The thing is that I forgot that Kia should have races, which is probably under other, and probably why I missed it last time. So I just gotta quickly, did I leave her short? Ah, shoot. Gotta quickly catch us up. And I should have done this ahead of time, but I forgot. I think I left all that stuff the same. Okay, we're gonna zoom, 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 zoom. Yeah. Oh, right. I think that's which one I chose. I know, I'm zooming through really quickly, and maybe it shouldn't have the deferring, unassuming, admiring. Okay, I'm almost there. I don't know, since I'm pressing the skip button, and I don't know if it would hurt your eyes. So I don't want you to like have to look at the zooming by of text bubbles. You know, because it's like zoom, 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 zoom. Zoom, 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 zoom. Zoom, zoom, zoom. Maybe she should stay praising. No, we already went with unassuming. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. I will eventually explore trying out different things in general with Kia, but as of right now, we're gonna stick to the status quo of me just following where she is mentally in her backstory stuff. And so yeah. Go otters. We're almost there. Okay, so that. Okay, hang on. This is important. I didn't want to like, it was like, and I told you what we were doing. We just, you know, it took a moment. Maybe haps. I don't try to edit my VODs, but maybe I'll cut this out of the VOD, so then it's just like a smooth transition. But I don't know. Maybe I won't, because I don't know. I feel like my VOD shouldn't be edited. That's what I don't know, because it feels like it's a little disingenuous, you know. Though that's not to say I haven't edited a VOD before. Okay, here we are. This should be the right text bubble. Nothing changed, except for yes, it did. See, look. Wait. See, the races. That was very important to me, actually. Because I decided it the last time we did the step 2 preview of the previous version of the demo, and I want to keep that the same. I'm trying to expand my understanding of my characters, and I also want to keep them in character. And what I decide is in character, at least at this point, is going to be in character. In about a year or so, I might be like, actually, no, it's a terrible idea. But right now, nah. I think she should have braces, though. I feel like it just makes sense. Makes sense. Makes sense. Okay, I will carry on. I feel like I was saying something before I remembered that, but I don't remember. Yeah, okay, so I'll just carry on reading. Right now, she was having a necklace moment. The stone hanging from her neck looked newly pried from a mine shaft. No perfect teardrop shape or flawless angles. It was natural. Thinking of her, who she was as a person, and who she was to you, you felt you were so lucky having a parent like Mama. You loved her. She was your friend as much as a parent. Hanging out with Mama was fun. That's a Miles option. I know I said that before, but I need to, in my head, sometimes things are just like, yeah, that's that. Okay, carrying on. Things were good between you and her. You got along most days. The relationship you had was fine. You could manage coexisting with her. Stuff was not great when it came to living with Mama. You disagreed about most things. Frustrated more often than not, sharing a space with Mama tested your patience every day. Sometimes I feel like I say words weirdly. Sorry. Complicated. You loved Mama, then couldn't stand her in waves, sometimes simultaneously. That might be a Paisley option. Of course you loved your Mama, but it wasn't always easy to understand each other. That also could be a Paisley option. It's hard because, okay, it's hard. Okay, no, little Paisley lore. Paisley actually doesn't live with her mom. She actually doesn't have a relationship with her mom. I'd have to base her relationship with her mom off either her uncle or her dad, because that's who she lives with, her dad and her uncle. But her dad is always away at work, and her uncle's kind of a mess. Like the two of you were completely disconnected. It was sad, but you couldn't talk to Mama. Your Mama didn't get you, and you didn't get her, and it was best when you were apart. And Mama flat out sucked. She, nope. I don't know where I was reading. Just looking at her ticked you off. The Mama flat out sucked. Just looking at you. Oh, okay, see, same thing. It's like slightly. What is your language? Who knew what? Not you. That was for sure. Anyways, this is, sorry, I know I'm pointing things out, but this one's probably a Frankie option. I don't talk about Frankie a whole bunch, but when I do, it's just to say that Frankie's life is okay. Like, yeah. Anyways, I think Kia is actually fine. It's actually really funny sometimes when I read through all these options. I'm like, yeah, anyways, this was the first option on the first page. But I feel like it's part of the experience to read all the choices. at least I don't know what experience I'm referring to, but part of an experience to read all the options. And so it's just a part of my play style. Even if I'm like, yeah, it's that option, I have to go through all of them. And sometimes I'm not sure yet, and I have to see what all the choices are, and then I choose an option. And I'm probably over-explaining. I gotta get off a little earlier because I started late anyway. So let me not stop. You and her were still a Connolly duo, taking life on as a team. In fact, that had only gotten truer as time went by, since you'd gotten old enough to be more of an actual help to her. It was cool. Quick question. If you were going to get your own cell phone, what color would you want? A cell phone? You'd never had a phone in your entire existence, and your same age neighbors already did. Chiyu got their phone at 11, as soon as they were in middle school. It saved Mrs. and Mr. Lin a bunch of hassle from all the people who called the house or their own cell phones only to ask about Chiyu. Though these days, Chiyu ignored practically every call they got, including from their parents. Send it in a text if you want a response. That was their way of life. You know, phone calls. Can be very stressful. Tamarack's mom and dad bought her. Did I shout that? I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry if I shouted that. Okay, is this a normal level? I don't want to talk too loud because that's like, wah. Okay. Tamarack's mom and dad bought her one when she was 13, officially a teenager. It was a sore spot in the Bauman family. Mrs. Bauman, the elder, didn't think that gadget was necessary. They're more of a distraction than anything else, she declared loud enough for the whole neighborhood to hear. This town was small and safe. She wondered what the younger Mr. and Mrs. Bauman thought could even happen. After her husband reminded Mrs. Bauman that Tamarack's main way of communicating with her parents was over the telephone lines, the fighting stopped. Okay, now our choices for reacting to this option of getting a phone. Wow. Thank you. Mama, I love you. Thanks, that's gonna help. Alright, I can try using one. I didn't really want one, but okay, he mumbled. Are you serious? Like serious? It's gonna happen? Wow, I thought I'd have to wait until I was 30. You rolled your eyes. You screeched with joy. You pumped your fist in the air. Cell phone. You rushed over and latched onto Mama's arm gratefully. Thank you. You sighed heavily. Maybe now you wouldn't be a laughingstock because you didn't have one. You rolled your eyes. Amazing. It only took 1,000,000 years. You gave Mama a thumbs up. You shrugged. Maybe you'd use it. You pursed your lips. You hadn't wanted one. Are you serious? Like serious? It's gonna happen. That's Kia. Kia has so much energy. But she's currently only so much energy at home. Well, okay, I won't say at home, but like, oh, is that the clock? Sorry. But yeah, you'd finally be able to text with your friends. She chuckled. I'm thrilled that you were excited. I've been saving up. Phones get pricier every 6 months. And then there's the monthly fees and so on. Mama didn't explain on the so on, steadily pushing her hand in front of her. Her daughter knew the value of $1 already. You'd never had the chance not to. But you're in high school now. You should have a phone. High school. That was the Connolly family's milestone for gifting their youth with a phone. Each household on the street had a different answer for the same thing. Of course, I'm taking you to the store with me. I'm not going to choose it for you. I'll have to sneak out of work a bit early for this. We'll need to go to the next town over to get the best selection. I want this done before tomorrow. Wait. How early is early? I'm seeing Chiyu and Tamarack today. I can't wait for some other time, either? Tamarack had been on pins and needles waiting to talk to her parents before the start of the school year. She wouldn't so much as look at a phone until you were there. And Chiyu hadn't left their house for days. You had to go over there and check on them. Don't worry. This doesn't mean you've got to flake out on seeing your friends. I know you want to see them. I'll swing around to pick you up late afternoon, early evening, thereabout. You'll have time for it all. Okay, it's going to be a busy day. Thank you, dear. She appreciated it wholeheartedly. Take care. You too, have a good day at work. You waved Mama off with a wide arc of your arm. She threw on a yellow cardigan, the most vibrant piece of clothing in her entire wardrobe, and went out the front door. You couldn't hang around much longer yourself. With a whirlwind of motion, you shoved supplies into your bag. You knew what you had to do next. You had a schedule. Chiyu and Tamarack weren't going to casually be in the same place at the same time. Yeah, right. Over the years, you learned how to balance seeing both of your friends. Tamarack wasn't going to call her parents until later, so you were going to choose house first. Tamarack was hoping to call her parents any minute, so you were going to her house first. Okay. This one I'm thinking about, right? Because initially I was like, when I did this the first time, I did this one because Tamarack's the best friend. Low-key, that's the reason why. But at the end of the scenes, and this is just a little spoiler if you haven't seen these scenes before, it's not even like big deal. You get to hang out with one of them longer than the other. So a part of me is like, should I switch it up so that she spends more time at Tamarack's place? Let me see. Da, 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 da. This is where we flip a coin. Top option, bottom option, or I guess this case, because usually, you know, heads for top option, tails for bottom option, but this is left or right, so this is the top option, this is the bottom option. That was left, right? Yeah, okay. So yeah, we're gonna flip a coin. You can't see the coin flip, I apologize, but you're just gonna have to take my word for it. Okay, the coin says we should go visit Tamarack first still. So to Tamarack we go. Soon your pack morphed into a balloon of compressed knowledge, a year's worth of reading, and pins and things forced into a single spot. The zipper strained to keep it all in. You knocked on the top. It felt like a solid mass against your knuckles. Well, you'd worry about how you would carry it later. You left it there and left the house. It was cold. Obviously it was cold. That didn't stop you. You were focused on your mission, pressing ahead step by step. Ooh, baby. Sorry. You cut across the lawn, went through the gate, and stood inside the cul-de-sac. From there, you headed left. The grade porch of the Bauman's was stop number 1. You reached the front of their house and rang the bell. An answer came immediately. Coming, I'm coming, hold your horses. A series of thumps followed the shout. You wrapped your arms around yourself, waiting. The door swung inwards. Wafts of perfume and a long, worn-out breath escaped through the opening. That trip down the main hall got longer every year, as the woman in front of you would swear. That was your grandma right there. You didn't mind her much. It was hard to know what to expect with Mrs. Bauman. She could be really nice and super unpleasant. Mrs. Bauman was such a cool old lady. She was always so funny. Tamarack had your sympathy. She wasn't too bad to deal with. Mrs. Bauman was awful. You had to get away from there ASAP. That was your grandma right there. I'll think Kia, you know, I don't even know how to explain it. The point is, this is Kia. I considered this one, but I think that's more of a Miles option. Mayhaps. Yeah. Anyways. And she was still granny to you? You've gotten too old to call Mrs. Bauman granny like you did as a kid. She wasn't granny to you anymore. You had your own word for that. Anymore? I don't know. I want to see what the other options are just real quick. Grandma, grand, Nana. Grandma, grand. I gotta decide what word is more cute. Give me 2 seconds. Give me 2 seconds to think this over. I say like I have all the time in the world. I don't. Grandma, grand. Okay, the will says we'll stick with Granny. Let me think it over. Spins the wheel. Sometimes thinking is deciding to outsource. She dressed as glamorously as ever, with a poofy blouse and a statement belt buckle. That golden double loop acted as her anchor. She always needed something to keep her grounded. Besides, Granny could never be too old to get dolled up. It didn't matter that her knees didn't work the way they used to, and the last hints of blonde had faded from her hair. She'd also had to chop the ends off several months ago. The split ends had gotten out of control. Though her hair had been so long, removing inches still left plenty. Pure white strands framed muted red eyes. Granny leaned her cheek into the doorframe. She shared a smile for a hello. I didn't know you and Tamarack had plans. Well, that's good. Perfect timing. I have told Opal repeatedly how lucky she was to have such a kind-hearted child. I say the same about Tamarack. Lord knows there are some true rabble-rousers out there that... She stopped herself and shook her head. The ribbony bit on her shirt flapped like a flag of surrender. That doesn't matter. You're not here for me to talk your ear off. You're here for your friend. Tamarack is in the backyard of all things. I suggest you go right around the house. That'll get you to her. It'd work. It may or may not be simpler than going through the front door and out the back, but it'd work. Have a good day, Angel. Granny shut the door behind her. You turned the other way and hopped off the porch. The Bauman backyard, huh? You saw it all the time. I'm sorry, give me 2 seconds. Sorry, just a little distraction. Yeah, okay. 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 The Bauman backyard, huh? You saw it all the time out windows from your own backyard, but it had been ages since you stepped foot in there. You didn't because Tamarack didn't. How awkward would it be if you went into her backyard by yourself? Tamarack had gone over every inch of that patch of earth 100 times. There was no magic left to find. She'd outgrown her childhood playground like a growing tree in a too small pot. You shimmied between their mailbox and the bushes guarding your house. Mama kept those trimmed. They weren't as wild as when you moved in. That didn't mean they were small, and you weren't a kid anymore. Leaves tickled your chin as you passed by. Branches brushed your chest. Your house was psyching you up for the day. You got through the gap and rounded the corner. A narrow path opened onto the edge. Huh? Oh, did I cut out for a second? Oh, that's so frustrating. I cut out for a moment. I apologize. But I think I saw it happen. Okay, well, hopefully nothing much got missed. We're on our way to Tamarack's backyard. You got through the gap and rounded the corner. A narrow path opened onto the edge of a far-reaching forest. The line between the woods and the backyard was clear. Mr. and Mrs. Bauman made sure the land they were paying for stayed in tip-top form. It didn't matter that the people living there only enjoyed its beauty maybe a couple times a month. What if a guest saw their grass with a less than flawless form? There was something new there. A bag sat nicely on the tabletop. Tamarack's childhood messenger bag had to join the Bauman's collection of antiques that were to be seen, not touched, before it fell apart completely. The new pretty pack could hold just as much as the original. It was also mostly brown again. The strap, top flap, and bottom support all were, but the center was pastel pink. Mrs. Bauman got it for her lovely young granddaughter, and she had assured everyone that Mr. Bauman helped. You shifted your focus over to that lovely lady. Tamarack sat motionless on the tire swing her grandparents had made for her. She had her arms wrapped around the rope tied in a bow. The tips of her pink boots dragged against the ground. That was where she was staring, too, at the dirt. Heavy bangs covered a third of her face. Pearl-covered headband peeked out from the crown of her head. Tamarack's hair stayed short. She'd actually had it cut a little shorter than when she was a kid. Instead of letting it be a total puffball, she styled her strands into soft waves. She hadn't bothered to put on a coat. A purple knit sweater over some kind of lacy trimmed shirt was enough. That was Tamarack Bauman. Bauman? Bauman. Have I been saying it wrong? Have I been switching? That was Tamarack Bauman, though you also knew her by a nickname. That was Tamarack Bauman for you. Bauman. Oh my gosh. Anyways, I think we went the nickname. Very few people got to do that. The nickname was Tam, Tammy, Tama, T. Thought about your own nickname. Shoot. T. Tammy. I do have another nickname in mind. I just can't remember if it was the one I decided Kia gave her or not. We'll go with Tammy. We'll go with Tammy. Yeah. I'm deciding it right now. I like the other nickname better with my character Miles. So you'll see it eventually. But I think their names sound, the nickname and then his name sound good together. It's the simplest way. The simple way to say it. Seemed like this was a glasses day. Wide frames rested against her nose. When Tamarack had to get braces, she insisted on having contacts too. She could not live with both of those at the same time. Then she said sorry if that hurt your feelings. She didn't mean it in that way. You could have glasses and braces. There was only something wrong with that when it was her. But Tamarack didn't like wearing contacts either. Contacts were only worth the annoyance if she was going somewhere with lots of people. You walked over to the rock path. She heard you coming. Tamarack glanced up. Tamarack's tense features couldn't stop a smile from spreading over her cheeks. Kia! Tammy! Hey! Hi! I missed you so much! Miss me? My angel princess! You gave a huge wave. You winked. She'd so been missing you. You felt complete. You'd missed her. You shot a finger gun. Your heart clenched. She was your angel princess. Cammy, he grinned. You gave a smile. We'll go with Tammy. Huh. I didn't cut out again, did I? It's kind of annoying if I did. Okay, I don't think I did. I hope not. Okay, she lurched forward with a burst of motion, reaching out towards you. The tire she dangled on swung with that energy. You went over before she could fall further away than where she'd begun. You grabbed her hand. You stood at the side of the swing, trying not to get hit. You walked forward and back in time with the swing's arch. Clicked. You grabbed her hand. Your palms smacked together. She twisted her fingers around yours. Tamarack became suspended diagonally in air. Gravity tried to pull you apart, but you ignored that law of physics for her. You made it! Her hair fluttered in the breeze. Yeah, I'd never forget. Are you ready to talk to your parents? She nodded, her jaw set firmly. I'm going to call my mom. I'll do it fast. Mr. and Mrs. Bauman, the younger. You'd met them. They'd wanted to see Tamarack's friends the first time they'd visited. Whenever they'd visited since, you'd seen them again. You were always with Tamarack. You hadn't really bumped into them since. You'd avoided them since I think he is always around. Tamarack gripped your hand hard. Narrow eyes shoved her... Nope. Narrow eyebrows shoved her eyes nearly closed. Tamarack plucked her naturally bushy brows. We have enough to worry about already. High school is starting tomorrow. Who knows what Mom might try to bring up if I had the call by myself. Her words came out frazzled and emphasized in a bunch of different places. Then she sighed. Tamarack unpilled one of her tightened fists and adjusted the crook of her arm to make sure she didn't fall right out of the tire. Thanks for letting me drag you into this. Tamarack sighed again. Her head drifted lower and lower until her chin rested against the rubber. Despite the unsteadiness of her position, she was now secure. You gave her the okay. That's what you were here for. It made her grin, a real grin, with her lips parted and everything. Oh. Ever since Tamarack had those braces put on, she almost never smiled with her teeth. You knew how self-conscious she was about them, but that rule went away when it was safely just the two of you. But Kia... She rolled her face over, squishing a cheek into the grooves of the tire. No effort was being expended. My phone is in the bag, over there. Leggings don't have pockets. She kicked a leg towards the table, 10 feet away from her. The swing weakly twirled her around. Tamarack attempted to keep eye contact with you during the spin. Could you get it for me? So I don't have to climb out of this thing, please? Huh? Sure. Fine. I do too much for you. No. Is it really okay for me to look inside? Get it yourself, girl. Yeah, I can do that. You stay right there. Ooh, you'll let me see inside your bag? I've always wondered about its mysteries. You simply turned to go get it. You showed her a thumbs up. That was no problem. You nodded rapidly. Tamarack didn't need to lift a finger. You glanced hesitantly between Tamarack and her bag. Was it okay for you to open it? You rubbed your hands together. You'd finally get to see inside her bag. You stuck your tongue out at her. She could get it herself. You stared blankly, not budging. You openly ignored her. Did somebody say something? Not as far as you knew. Yeah, I can do that. You stood right there. Or Okay, he is definitely one of these two. I think I'll go, yeah, I can do that, but I think that's just what I'm going with because, yeah, the coin agrees. Because I think that she's a little more reactionary, somewhat. You know, I mean, no, like I think she's just like, oh, bag, yes, got it. If that makes sense. That should clearly be a sticker, emo. I don't know. If that makes sense. I say it too often. Her hand slipped through yours. Thanks, you're the best friend I ever had. Tamarack stayed sitting pretty while you fetched her needed tool. If Granny's throne was the green drawing room chair, the tire swing was Tamarack's. You undid the flap of her bag. Inside was a smudge-free smartphone. The screen winked at you with a glint of light. It was ready to be collected. You grabbed it. In the seconds you needed to lift the phone and close the bag, you took stock of Tamarack's stuff. A lip gloss, hairbands, her wallet tucked into a side pocket, a white box, probably a first aid kit. There was an open package of something from the corner store tucked into the corner. It could have been chips or cookies. You couldn't make out the logo. It was just like when you were kids, besides the wallet. Tamarack had never had money growing up. Hey, come on. Coming. I know, I think I'm making their voices too similar. I can't remember either of their voices. Sorry. You stepped away from the table and passed Tamarack her phone. Thank you. Tamarack scrolled across the screen and then she typed. She put her phone to her ear and waited. Oh, I want to see her phone case more. Look, I can tell it's cute. It rang repeatedly. Mrs. Bauman, not Granny, did answer. You guessed she had anyway. Tamarack's face was suddenly covered by a stiff mask of the real thing. If that wasn't enough of a clue, she started talking. Hi, Mom. Thanks for doing this. Kia's here, too. We've been hanging out. Tamarack held the phone towards you, careful not to shove it in your face. Hello. See? Yeah, Mrs. Bauman. Tamarack wasn't alone. She would never be on her own as long as you could help it. My mom says hello to you, too. And so your role in this ended. You'd done what you could. The rest was on Tamarack. She bobbed her head while you listened to a list of general pleasant replies. Yep, that's right. Don't worry. She couldn't say for the New Year check-in. The big day of class hadn't happened yet. Tomorrow, it could be a perfect afternoon, or she could get trapped in a bush and miss the entire thing. From the side of the conversation you got to hear, her mom never strayed from the safe subject of school, which meant there was even less to discuss. The closer Tamarack got to getting to wrapping this up, the higher her pitch got. I love you too. Tell Dad I love him too. Bye. Oh, I'm sorry. I let it too early. I love you. Tell Dad I love him too. Bye. Tamarack tapped the red button on her screen with a thumb. Then she collapsed all over the tire. It was like that one painting with the melted clocks that teachers and YouTubers like to show. I know what painting we're talking about. Do you know what painting we're talking about? I can't remember what it's called, but I know I can see the painting right now. Tamarack's limbs were practically dripping off of her. Seeing her that way was wrong. She looked so out of place. You couldn't help but pause and acknowledge how wonderful it was that Tamarack was still here. Living with her Omi and Opa was meant to be temporary, and it had already been nearly half a decade. Her parents kept in touch, and they visited, sometimes more, sometimes less. That inconsistency meant there was never a sense of normalcy around them, no matter how many months went by. As soon as things were calm enough that you thought Tamarack was going to be in Golden Grove forever, Her parents would become so re-involved, it was as if they'd been packing her bags any day. You lived with a thorn stuck in your chest, one that dug deeper with each passing season no matter what, and every so often got jabbed by the unexpected. Maybe that had something to do with why Tamarack came across like an outsider. People were holding their breath around her, bracing for when it wouldn't be a false alarm, for when she'd be gone. And you knew for sure that Tamarack struggled with seeing her own presence in that light. She told you about it. How much longer would Tamarack Bauman be living right next door? Slowly, Tamarack disentangled herself from the tire swing, one leg coming after the other, not letting go of the rope too soon. Nobody wanted her to get hurt right now. The swing did as it was made to do, swing, but Tamarack got onto her feet. The first thing she did with her freedom was return her phone to the bag. She stood with her back to you, staring at her cell for any sudden movements. Her parents would never call back. They wouldn't. They wouldn't text so soon after a chat either. But what if they did? But they didn't. Tamarack twisted her head to the side. You could see her face again, part of it at least, the few inches that weren't covered by her hair or shoulder, or weren't completely impossible to make out from your point of view. She smiled. That was enough. We did it! Phew! Nice work, Tammy. Did she say anything about you leaving? You're not gonna move away, right? We dodged a bullet, huh? Finally. Great, there's better stuff to do. I was so nervous. Your parents scare me, he said with a laugh. Your parents scare me, you said with a straight face. It'd be nice if your parents moved here. How come your mom and dad don't just come to Golden Grove? You wiped your forehead. Your brows bent as you watched her. Nothing serious had come up, right? Finally, you pressed your palms into your eyes. Thumbs up. She did great. You could breathe again. That made you so nervous. Bullet dodged, you nodded. You rubbed goosebumps off your arms. Her parents scared you. You squinted at Tamarack. Why were her mom and dad like that? Nice work, Tammy. Not through a lot of these. I was thinking. I considered asking, but I think where Kia is she's not going to. Asking why they didn't just come out here and move out here. I think it's possible that one of my other characters might ask that, but I don't think Kia will. Probably. You too. Mr. and Mrs. Bauman, the parents. You guessed you could separate the Mrs. and Mr. Bauman you knew from the ones you'd barely seen by calling them Dr. Bauman 1 and Dr. Bauman 2. Tamarack's mom and dad were both PhD holders and researchers. They mentioned they were in the process of getting that when you met. At this point, they'd gotten the degrees. You'd be okay with getting to know them better. You wanted to like them, though they didn't give you a lot to work with. They honestly seemed cool. Those two should come to town more often. You'd like that, and Tamarack probably would too. Those two should come to town more often. You wouldn't like it, but you'd all manage it for Tamarack. You actually hated them. That was a power couple. You thought they were pretty aspirational, for being intelligent anyway. But they'd like it if you did that, so you wouldn't. They sucked. You could never form an opinion on them. You hardly knew them. Your feelings were mixed. If you knew them better, would you like them more? Or even less? Okay, she's one of these two. You're okay getting to know them better. They should come around more often. I think we'll go with this one. Yeah. Well, yeah. Tamarack tugged at the end of her shirt. You'd been quiet for a while. Oh! She made a beeline for the swing. Tamarack darted behind it and held on with both hands. She pushed it towards you. It was the second time she'd done that. Here, you can have a turn. It doesn't have to just be me who uses it. Tamarack wielded the tire like it was the steering wheel for her life. And like it somehow controlled your future too. I could push you, or... She leered at you from over the tire. I could spin you. Spinning a tire swing? What a wild child. Yeah, push me. Yeah, spin me. Woo, swing me. Woo, spin me. We can swing together. No, let me push you. No, let me spin you. Are you sure you want to push me? Are you sure you want to spin me? I'll use it, but don't get in the way. I don't have time, sorry. No thanks. You nodded and mocked a push. That'd be fun. You nodded at her spinning idea. That'd be fun. You inched closer. Was it really all right? You threw your hands in the air. Push me. You twirled. Spin me. You pointed towards yourself, then her. You'd be the one pushing. You gave her a heavy-lidded look. You would not be doing that. You glanced back towards the neighborhood. You didn't have time. You shook your head. Kia's going to say, we can swing together. Remember how we used to? No. Physically repelled by the suggestion, Tamarack lost her hold on the swing. She fumbled to catch it, and luckily she did. If she'd missed, she would have fallen after it. Tamarack hugged the rope to her chest. Her eyes were squeezed together tight too. That'd break it. No, it wouldn't. Tamarack still wouldn't look at you. You didn't want to push her in that kind of way. She wasn't going to change her mind. You had to move on. Okay. Now I gotta decide which one it is. Yeah, push me. Are you sure you want to push me? Spin? Nah, I think. Well. Yeah, okay. Let's spin. I'm running out of time. Might be at my band. Okay. Yeah, okay. She kept her hold strong. I've got it. Get in. You climbed on top with your legs dangling over the edge. Climbed on top with your legs crossed around the rope. You sat in the center of the tire. You stuck your head through the tire and laid on your stomach. Kia's gonna sit at the top because that's what she already was like, remember how we used to? So she's gonna do it by herself. It really was the best spot. You thought so since you were a kid. It was exciting. This was how to use a tire swing. Tamarack cocked the tire to the side. Your head jerked. Whoa. That was your only warning. I think she's, yeah, okay. Me deciding if I should have gone back, if I could have done the push. But yeah, anyway. Then she snapped the swing. Yeah, then she snapped the swing. You did a 360, and she hit the tire again, and again, and again. Tamarack kept catching the edge of the tire, propelling you into a propeller motion. I should have said woo. Okay, sorry. Your world was a blur. Your cheeks pulled away from the rest of your face. A buzz went through your body each time her palm made contact with the rubber. The energy you and her were generating could power the whole neighborhood. Faster! Sniff my shoes, you pointed your toes at her. Ooh! Yee! Stop! I'm getting dizzy! Woo! I'm getting dizzy! This is stupid, you said, grinning. Hi, Tammy, bye, Tammy. Hi, Tammy, bye, Tammy. You laughed and laughed. You held on for dear life. You closed your eyes. You smacked a hand over your mouth. You were going to be sick. Yeah. For a moment, all your cares were shaken out of your ears. I clicked the hi Tammy, bye Tammy one, just in case. That was, yeah. The breeze filled your ears until a hollow thump did. Yeah, okay. The swing stopped dead. Oof. Tamarack hooked her arm through the center. You held tight to the rope. Tamarack took the hit, but you were the one who got jostled. She didn't budge. Sorry. Following her sight line brought your attention to the house. The back door had opened. Standing in the doorway, framed by it like a life-size vintage photo, was Mr. Bauman. Hello. He gave a tip of the hat to you. The exact same that he'd had 4 years ago. His jacket hadn't been replaced either. The vest and pants set he wore came from the thrift store. Even that part of the outfit wasn't newly made. Mr. Bauman's family picked it out for him, blue to make his eyes pop. Older people loved their old things. That was never truer than with Tamarack's grandfather. He was a true constant, a boulder that withstood the erosion of time. His hair couldn't get any whiter. His wrinkles couldn't get deeper, right? He'd already reached elderliness when you met him. What you saw in front of you was the finished version of him. Mr. Bauman wouldn't have changed a single thing for the rest of his life if he didn't have a wife and granddaughter who made him do it sometimes, in little ways. And you adored him for that. Mr. Bauman was the best. He made it easy to ignore him, at least. You still didn't know him enough to decide if you liked Mr. Bauman or not. He was awesome. You hoped you were that cool when you were elderly. His old man attitude made you laugh. He made you uncomfortable. How did Tamarack live in the same house as him? Mr. Bauman was harmless. He never bothered you. You couldn't stand how distant he was. It was like nothing mattered. And he was your grandparent too. I think she would think he was cool. His grandparent too. He was awesome. He hoped you were too. Yeah, let's do that one. Yeah. Oh, whoops, I didn't read those. Sorry. You just started calling him by your own special nickname. It was nice having Mr. Bauman in your life. Grandpa, Gramps, Grandpappy, Pow, Abuelo, Yaya, Babu. I don't know if it's the Nono, Lolo, Dedushka, Avo. Oh wait, when there's a tilde, the letters are kind of Vovu, Far, Daideo, Oji-san, Kulu, Grandparent. You need to click to enter a term. I think Kia would use the word Gramps. It's funny. I think I talked about this last time. Like, there's an image of a type of character that I see saying Gramps, and Kia doesn't really fit that image, but also I feel like she's someone who would say Gramps. Also, I'm going to continue. Technically, I should be getting off, but I'm going to continue for a little bit. But if I abruptly say that it's over, it's because I got busy. And we're just gonna keep going until I have to stop. That's that. Yeah. Gramps climbed down the miniature set of stairs into the backyard, bracing one knee with his hand and taking the steps half at a time. He put both feet onto the same level before going down to the next. Gramps was solidly built. That made the risk of accidents more troublesome. If he fell, he'd fall hard. How'd the call go? I forgot the voice already, guys. I'm so sorry. That was awful. How'd the call go? Good enough. Tamarack's gaze met yours. That wasn't much of a call, and that had been her goal. A few minutes of small talk with a friend on standby to make certain it never went past that. Tamarack summed it up nicely with a shout. Good. And this was a good time to go. Chiyu needed you too. You spoke in a hush. Tamarack, I've got to leave now. Bye. Huh? You jerked a chin towards the way out. You're leaving? Okay. So you climbed down from the swing. It was fun while it lasted. Bye. Bye. Tamarack waved you off. Gramps simply watched you walk away. Good day. The backside of the neighborhood was behind you. You marched around the bend, passing your own house and reaching the other end. I think I have the sound effects turned all the way up, so sometimes when they go off, I'm like, ah. For the second time, you came to stand in front of a neighbor's door. You rang the bell. Nothing happened at first. There wasn't the instant reaction you'd gotten from Mrs. Bauman, but the chance for a prompt adult-like response passed by too. You were left waiting longer than somebody normally had to stand at a doorstep. You had no idea what to expect next. This could take another few seconds or a few minutes. Your gaze wandered. Let me save real quick, just in case I have to go soon. Your gaze wandered. It landed on the row of shadows stretching across the ground. They came from a railing, but were exactly like the bars of a jail cell. Come on. Someone had to answer, right? You had to get in there. You had to see Chiyu. Then the door moved. You immediately straightened your back. On the other side was Mr. Lin. He hadn't left for the day. You were guessing he had some real estating he had to do this afternoon. He did have a coat on. It looked kind of like a biker jacket, and he was a kind of biker, just not a motorcycler. Mr. Lin kept it only half zipped to show his professional button-down shirt and tie combo underneath. That was definitely the man to talk to about buying something that cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. Just look at how his glasses matched his eyes and the way he put his hands confidently on his hips. Mr. Lin was great. You thought he was so goofy, but that was fun. He made you nervous. Mr. Lin acted with so much certainty that it left none for you. You'd really gotten to like him lately. It surprised you. You couldn't believe you hadn't liked him instantly. Mr. Lin was the best type of adult. You didn't mind dealing with Mr. Lin. That was fine. He got on your nerves sometimes. It felt like he babied anyone who wasn't 30. He was so handsome. Mr. Lin was just another adult. You didn't think much about him. I gotta work on my characters' interactions with adults and their friends' parents. Mr. Lin opened his lips next to show the grin behind them. Hey, Kia. Thanks for taking the time to come over. Now, your visitor, our charming Chiyu, won't mind. He chuckled quietly, though a cloud of concern put an end to the sunny mood he'd started with. The Lin parents had been totally shut out by their teen. They had to rely on the neighbor kid completely. You were their only lifeline left. Not even Rin was a for sure thing these days. But you'd want to see Chiyu whether they asked for that or not. Come in, please. Don't let me hold you up. Thank you. Mr. Lin moved aside. You passed through the door. Your host followed after, but you got ahead of him after a few steps. Just head up to their room. You know where it is. I'll be here. You didn't stop walking. You didn't want to stay there. It was hard to explain, the way a space could stay so much the same and still be so different. Their living room didn't decide to get spotless tidy yesterday, because it knew there'd be a guest. It was always like that. But the house didn't feel nice or neat anymore. Somehow, it seemed sharp, stiff, uninviting. Every single time your feet touched the floor, you braced yourself for the crack of eggshells. At the top of the stairs, you got a different kind of jolt. You weren't alone there. Mrs. Lin, she stood in front of Chiyu's room, facing directly towards you. It is good to see you. She had on a simple dress, brown from top to bottom. Her slippers were white. You didn't have to check out a window to see autumn here. Mrs. Lin displayed the season in action. Her dark blue hair was pulled into a bun. That took even more color away from her. Though, that hairstyle did make her earrings stand out. Gold leaves with purple stones. She'd worn those for years. I see that. I forgot that she had earrings. Focusing on her that closely, you noticed her mouth pulled into a faint smile. I've been knocking. Mrs. Lin twisted around to touch the door again. She stared at the wall between her and her child. That must have been exactly how she was before she heard someone coming. Chiyu hasn't answered, but they wouldn't if they knew. They would. Oh my gosh. They would. I said wouldn't. I can read. Chiyu hasn't answered, but they would if they knew you were here. Speaking at the plank of wood, she stopped talking to you. Chiyu, your friend is here. She will be coming in. She'll be coming in. I guess there was no emphasis there, but I emphasized it anyways because I don't know if it was because I did. You leaned in, ears perked. It was dead silent. Still, Mrs. Lin backed away. That was the most the mom could do. She kept that smile for you. You can stay as long as you like. And then she vanished. Down the way you came. Mrs. Lin relaxed you. You never had to worry about what would happen. Mrs. Lin could be so silly. That was great. She always rubbed you the wrong way. You got awkward around her. You never knew what to do. Mrs. Lin had seemed kind of cool. Cold. I can read. Mrs. Lin had seemed kind of cold, but you'd begun warming up to her. You had been so wrong as a kid. How could anybody not like Mrs. Lin? It was impossible. Mrs. Lin was so sweet and thoughtful. You didn't need another mama. She worried too much. I didn't point these out as I was reading them. I apologize. She never bothered anybody, including you. Mrs. Lin, she was beautiful. Okay. I'm just choosing the first option. Or maybe... Yeah, I already chose. You took Mrs. Lin's place in front of the door. The unmoving door. The door with not a single sound coming through. You twisted your fingers together. You'd done this before. You could visit Chiyu's room, and Mrs. Lin said you were gonna do it, so... First, you knocked yourself. You didn't think they'd answer. You just wanted to be polite. Chiyu, I'm actually here. I'd like to come in. You twisted the handle and then pushed the door open. It didn't go smoothly. The frame wasn't warped like your bedroom door. Okay, my processing. The frame wasn't warped like your bedroom door. Something was blocking the other side. Okay. Chiyu hadn't been spending their time... Okay, Chiyu hadn't been spending their time in there cleaning. Not a surprise. It was a mess. Chiyu's personal space, was the only part of the Lin household that had permission to fall to pieces. The room was perfect for a game of I Spy. Your eyeballs were overwhelmed with the amount of stuff in front of them. Trying to pick out any specific thing would take complete focus. And in the center of all of this was Chiyu himself. You waded through a shallow sea of abandoned clothes and forgotten note pages. You didn't have to imagine eggshells anymore. One wrong step and you'd crunch something for real. Standing at the side of the bed, you tilted your head straight down. Chiyu, Lin, you'd made it. They lay on their stomach, face flat against the mattress, feet propped on the pillows. Like their dad, Chiyu had a jacket on. Unlike Mr. Lin, that wasn't a sign that they were going someplace. Chiyu hadn't been outside in 100 hours or something, and you'd bet they had their blue plaid coat on that whole time. Strands of brown hair rested over their shoulders and mingled with the fluffy trim of their hood. They kept a small part of it tied into a ponytail. They found a hairstyle that worked at 10 and stuck with it. Under the mix of faux fur and thick mass of hair, you could see a black line on their neck. Chiyu was wearing a choker. A pair of skinny jeans stuck out from the bottom of their oversized coat. Chiyu didn't go as far as wearing shoes in bed. They just had socks on. Seeing Chiyu from below was something you were used to. For years, Chiyu was the tall one in town. Now, as a soon-to-be high schooler, they turned out to be an average-sized teen. But you were a short kid, and you were still a short teenager. Chiyu kept multiple inches over you. Some people still called them Autumn. You didn't. Some people still called them Autumn, including you. Some people still called them Autumn, but you had a different nickname for them. Some people still called them Autumn, including you, though you had your own nickname for them too. Oh, right, I wanted Kia's nickname for them to be Chi, and I wasn't quite sure how to spell it. Because, okay, maybe I should have done T. No, that'd be too similar. It'd be too confusing. But in my story, that is kind of how they nickname people. The friend group, they just like, I mean, obviously, a lot of nicknames are just from a part of the name. Hang on. I want to make sure I spell it in a way that makes sense. Give me 2 seconds. Wait. Yeah, 2 seconds. I'm just gonna do this. We're just gonna stick with Autumn. I know that initially I don't think I had Kia join in the using the nickname, but I think she would. In the long run. Like, maybe she should have from the get-go, but anyways, yeah. You'd gotten into the habit somewhere over the years of calling them Autumn. Yeah. Quick clarification. A low moan escaped from between Chiu's lips and the mattress they were pressed up against. It went on and on until they didn't have air left in their chest. It was a greeting, or a cry for help. One of those. Hey, I'm here. Or, hey, I'm here. Autumn, it's been so long. I'm too late. Autumn's dead. So, doing good there, Autumn? Are you okay? I worry about you sometimes. Hello, Autumn. I've broken into your room. It's nice to see you. You tapped the mattress. Hello. You poked the back of their head. Seriously, were they dead? You patted the back of their head. Seriously, were they okay? You tapped your foot. Autumn was doing great, huh? You waved near their face. Hopefully they'd feel your breeze. You tugged on the blanket. Time to get up. You just kept waiting for them. It's nice to see you. And that's what I was thinking. I can't read, guys. I can't voice act and read sometimes. I'm sorry. They tilted their head onto its side. Half of Autumn's face appeared, and half their mouth was pulled into a smirk. You didn't need to see the other side to tell that much. The sparkle in their eye made it clear. Did I turn on my mic? Yeah, I did. I'm sorry. My brain blanked. Boop, 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 boop. Hi. I'm glad you came over. I've been so busy getting ready for tomorrow and everything. They'd been prepping for tomorrow? Mysteriously, you couldn't believe that. My will is almost finished. You coughed. Okay, Chiu-Lin. Fluttering their eyes closed, Chiu kicked their legs through the air. They grinned sweet as could be. Kia, I'm leaving you my notebooks and whatever pages you can find. Their feet froze mid-arc. The bed squeaked, and Autumn's eyes opened again. Burn them. I promise I will. You clasped one of. I can read. Don't even say anything. I can read. I promise I will. You clasped one of Chiu's limp hands. I promise I will. Hold on. What does the rest of the will say? I can't promise that, Autumn. It's too cruel. You threw your head back in sorrow. Oh, you know I will. I'll toast s'mores over the flames in your honor. What? No. You're not going to die from ninth grade. Autumn, it's not going to be that bad. We can deal with it. You clasped one of Chiu's limp hands. You'd do that for them if you had to. You gripped Chiu's shoulders. They could get through this. You coughed even more. You burst into laughter. You pressed a hand to your forehead and acted faint. You couldn't do that. You shook your head. The situation was worse than you thought. Yeah, I think he is, I can't promise that. It's too cruel. Autumn kept lying there, making a real show of being on their deathbed. I believe in you. When I'm gone, you'll do the right thing. Stop, please. Autumn popped one of their thumbs straight up. Fine. Your friend faded right in front of you. It wasn't an act anymore. Autumn pressed their face into the blanket again. I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm gonna drink some water real quick. I feel like my reading has deteriorated for a second, so I'm just gonna. You know, it's probably because my lamp is getting brighter because it's getting darker out. It's hurting my eyes because my lamp is my lamp is like right in front of me. Actually, blame anything. Okay. There we go. High school is a death sentence. The teacher should fail me now. Save everyone the trouble. Is that why you aren't coming out of your room? If I never go anywhere, ever, then my parents can't be surprised when I don't go out to school tomorrow either. I figured I should help them get used to it before the big day. And maybe if I do it long enough, people will forget I'm here. I'm not gonna forget you. School can be hard, but it's better than you think. That plan sucks. You're gonna have to come out sometime. You can't live like this. So, you want to do homeschooling instead? You have to go. Can I hide here too? Good luck. You're not the only one who doesn't like going to school. He brushed their hair away from their face. He gave them a pat on the back. It was rough. You looked down at them, blank-faced. That plan sucked. Well, good luck to them. You smacked a hand to your face. They had to go. You had no idea what you were supposed to say to that. You silently wished them good luck. Could you hide in here too? Maybe you'd be able to sneak in. I'm not gonna forget you. Okay, yeah, you can do that. Autumn moved their face off the bed again. They needed to take a deep breath. You don't have to stand there, you know. Sit down. You sat at on the edge of the bed. You kept standing anyway. Yeah, Key's gonna sit down. And it was the very edge. The mattress sank down with your weight pressed into only the mattress sank down with your weight pressed into only a few inches of space. Gio hadn't left much room for anywhere else. I just adding in words, huh? Autumn kept staring at you from below. Then they shrugged, using a single shoulder. That was enough. No way would Mom and Dad let me skip school to stay in my room. Even I'm not that stupid for real. You're not stupid at all. You don't have to pretend. Listen, my real plan is that I'm gonna move into my other room tomorrow and live there instead. Pretty clever, huh? They're so worried about me being in here that when I do leave the house, they'll just be glad about it. They'll never see phase 2 coming. Chiu pressed their hands into the blanket and lifted themselves with the effort of having done 1,000 push-ups. You bobbed high and low on the bed. Sorry, I was listening to the sounds. You bobbed high and low on the bed while Chiu got comfortable in a different way. They sat cross-legged. Your faces were a lot closer, but they weren't looking at you. Autumn stared through a window, the one overlooking their backyard. In the distance, a child's fortress stood among the trees. Could that protect them? I don't want to see anyone out there. I don't want to be anyone. I don't feel like I am anyone. They hid their hands between their knotted legs. Autumn's head and back bowed forward. They were under a weight no one could see, but that didn't mean it was fake. Expectations were very real. What about you? Do you get it? Have you figured this out? You'd never been through what Chiu was dealing with. Since you lived there, since your whole life, you hadn't stopped living how people thought you always would. Yeah, but I don't know how. Sometimes I don't know if I do have it figured out. I'm sorry. No, I don't have everything figured out. Life's confusing. Yeah, I'm a genius, you teased. I'm not sure what I can tell you, but I wish I could help. Yeah, I have. You could only shake your head. You had no words for that. You patted their arm supportively. You wished you could be more help, but couldn't. It made you lower your face apologetically. You bit your lip. Did you have it? Did you have that sorted out for real and forever? You could only offer silent sympathies. You shrugged unapologetically. You were simply a genius. I'm not sure what I can tell you, but I wish I could help. This isn't your fault, Kia. They reached over to tap your shoulder. At least we can lean on each other, right? Except for tomorrow, because I'm not going to school. You both laughed. They kept looking at you. Chia's eyes didn't flaunt how dead inside they were anymore. Suddenly, they were alive. Okay, Chia was up to something. Hey, I've got to give you something. Chia unwrapped their arms and then untwisted their legs. They hopped off the bed, wandering towards their desk. They grabbed their most recent notebook. Autumn had gone through a lot in the time you'd known them. No matter how much Chia loved one, it never survived for more than half a year. But the notebook was a signature part of who they were. Keepers of Chia's important reminders, the notebooks they relied on changed size and style over the years, as Chia themselves did. This wasn't falling apart at the seams yet. It was packed with tabs and bookmarks and other paper-sized things Chia wanted to keep track of. The notebook was too big to fit in any pocket, so they kept it in their room or tossed it into their school bag before going out. And if it didn't end up in their bag, then oh well. Chia flipped to a random page and started scribbling away with a pencil they'd also scrounged up from the desk. Completely hunched over their work, they wrote at super speed. You watched their arm jerk and slide, waiting for answers. Then, Chia stopped. They tucked the pencil behind one ear. The momentary silence was ended with a cringingly loud tear. Autumn held a piece of paper high. They spun around and presented it directly to you. Their Their page was bone white, divided by blue lines printed across it. The words it had to say were, "Happy 4-year friendship anniversary, from Chiu Lin actually." The message was surrounded by Chiu's signature stars with no lines in the middle. Side note, if you're playing this game, or if you plan on playing this game, this note can change depending on your relationship with you. I know that sounds so obvious, but like, it can't. Or maybe it's not obvious, I don't know. But it can change. Before the demo updated, I went through to try to get all of this. Thanks to you. Oh, thank you. Wow, this must have taken you hours, you laughed. You were so uncool, you grinned wide. The anniversary is tomorrow. You remembered. I love it. That's really thoughtful, you know? Okay. Don't remind me it's been that long, you acted distraught. You gave a dramatic groan. Chew shouldn't remind you of that. You smacked your cheeks. Amazing. What a time-consuming gift. You grinned wide. They were so uncool. You clapped gleefully. Chew remembered. You didn't react. Your anniversary was tomorrow. You bent over with laughter. That was beautiful. Your face felt warm. It was wonderful. You squished your mouth into a line. How weird. You blinked. Okay. You remembered. That's cute. Then you accepted the gift. You were going to keep that nice and safe. Then you took the page. You couldn't leave Chiyu hanging. You'd gotten the message. Chiyu could keep the paper. Kia is going to keep that nice and safe, just like the first one. The first one. The one Tamarack threw at her. I believe that Kia kept it. Chiyu's arm flopped to their side. They walked around their room aimlessly. They kicked their legs out with each step, barely bending their knees. Yeah, I'd figured you'd like that. You're welcome. They brushed the hair around their ear, cocking their head. Doing all that knocked the pencil out. It clattered to the ground. She pretended that didn't happen. They kept smirking. Somehow, they were still smooth even when they really shouldn't be. Your grip on the note shifted. The paper was thin, crisp. If you weren't careful, you'd get a cut. You folded it in half, once and then twice. It became a neatly compressed square that fit in your pocket. You put it away. You stayed there. You could hang out with Autumn until Mama was back. And this was a good time for you to go. Kia's gonna stick around. Come on, it's Kia. We know. She's gonna hang out with her friends. Like, what's she gonna do by herself while she waits? She leapt 3 feet to faceplant on their bed. An incredible use of their ballet skills. The impact lifted you into the air like it was the natural next move in a dance. Ah! You bounced down again, right next to you. Clearly, they weren't going anywhere. Why not get comfortable? Maybe if we're quiet, my parents will forget you're in here too. We could both live in my room for the rest of our lives. I don't think that's gonna work. Dang. At least for a couple of hours, you two were shut away from everything. A larger building than this didn't exist. No neighborhood was out there. Tomorrow wasn't real either. You and Chiyu talked and talked, sometimes about sucky stuff, sometimes about things that were actually cool. But eventually the light around you changed. Autumn's room became tinted in orange. The sun was starting to set. Mama had said she'd be there in the evening, earlier than she normally got back from work. You had to go out into the big wide world again. You left Autumn alone and shut the door behind you. Mr. and Mrs. Lynn were together in the living room, waiting. When you hit the stair landing, they looked at you. Neither of them asked how it went, but you could see the appreciation in their faces. You couldn't magically solve all Chiyu's problems. Even though sometimes they still called you a sorcerer, all you could do was help them forget about it for a while. For Chiyu's parents, who hadn't managed to get near them for a single minute, you'd been there for their child today. That was enough. They didn't keep you any longer. You returned to the cul-de-sac. Soon, you stood in front of the middle house of the row, under the huge shadow it cast. You were home. That was your prison. You lived there. You didn't think much else about it. It was a dusty old place, no matter how much Mama tried to clean. The longer you were stuck there, the more you hated it. You started to think it might be haunted. So awesome. You started to think it might be haunted. So scary. Right, because I almost chose the haunted option in the beginning one, Where, and if so, I wonder how it changed. Like, you still probably say that you still think it's haunted. And, you know, maybe if I replay as Kia, I might switch to the haunted one because I think she does think that's kind of cool. I think she likes kind of scary things. But I don't think her opinion would, like, change. I think if she thought it, she would think it from the beginning, and it would be like she still thinks so. So, we're just gonna say you were home. You tried the door. Locked. Mama wasn't actually in there. See, if you'd already had a phone, Mama could have texted you or called you when she was here. You wouldn't have to do all this guessing. You took out your own keys to let yourself in. Mom had honored you with the house key many years ago. Up the stairs and one quick turn that got you there. The doorframe might not be any less bent, but in 4 years, you'd become a pro at getting it unstuck. You got into your room without missing a step. In front of you, that sight was so familiar. In a way, it was you. On the walls, in the closet, tucked into the drawers, this place was a collection of what you'd gathered over your life. Everything you decided to hold on to. In the final version of the game, you're going to get to customize your room every step. So that'd be cool. Your room had become something to be proud of. This was important to you. Totally, completely important. The room did its job, being a space to put stuff. You couldn't be mad at it for that. You tried your best to make it your own. You couldn't be mad at yourself for what you'd done. You'd outgrown this little attic room. Sometimes you felt like throwing it all away and tearing the place down. You felt comfortable there because of how much of you it held. It was crummy. Okay. This was important to you. Totally, completely important. Your room had become something you're proud of. Yeah, sure. You're proud of your room. Proud of her room? Well, wait. Important? Nah, I would say she's proud of it, yeah. No matter where you looked or where you moved, it was exactly how you'd want it to be. And if you changed your mind about that, you could change it all again. Exactly. That is the Kia mindset. But you didn't have enough time to decide what to do in there before you heard sounds coming from below. Then there was another sound, a few knocks. Hello, are you here? Yeah, come in. She opened the door wide. I'm home. I was curious what her cardigan looked like. Look at that. Look at her. Mama approached with a hand on her hip. She was still wrapped in a cardigan, ready to not be home any second. I hope you've had a good day. Did you see your friends? Yeah, I did. That made Mama smile. Come on, Kia, we should go. I should probably go. Okay, because the scenes be going and going, but this is all new. Okay, how long have I been on? Well, I can go for just a little bit longer. I know. Technically, I should already be off, and it's probably going to be a little bit confusing next time I get on. But hopefully, it's not. I'm going to keep going for just a little bit longer. Just a little bit longer. I can't help it. I can't help it. So you did. You got out of the house. Let me save though. Just gotta save it. You got out of the house and into the car. It was still toasty in there thanks to Mama's trip from work. You were allowed to sit in the front at that age. The journey for a phone began. Tapping a finger against the wheel, Mama made light conversation. Actually, I never did get to hear what color you wanted. Are we thinking the traditional route, black, silver? Or maybe it's impossible to decide until you see them in person. Who knows how many colors they'll have on offer? Might be best not to get your hopes set on a certain favorite. A favorite. Mama was mama enough to know how you felt about colors. You had one absolute favorite. Had multiple colors you liked. It was impossible to pick one favorite. Didn't care about any color. She does have one absolute favorite because all my characters have one absolute favorite because that's how I assign them colors. Except for in a different series, actually, even though they have colors associated with them, that's not necessarily their favorite color. And it's really funny because I was rereading something that I wrote, and the character associated with red, she was like, "Oh, my favorite color is green." And she was talking to the character associated with green, who she was like, "Oh, my favorite color is red." You can see where this is going, right? Okay. One absolute favorite. It was. It's funny because it should be camera. Okay. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, pink, gold, silver, bronze, black, white, brown, rainbow, cranberry. Rainbow is such a good color for Kia. That's what I was thinking about with the multiple. Like, her favorite color is red. We're gonna stick with red. But know that rainbow is an awesome choice for Kia, and it's probably her second favorite color. And I know that rainbow is technically not a singular color, but doesn't matter. Same as it always was. You were loyal to your love. Mama and you went directly to the nearest phone store. Living up on a mountain meant over an hour away. Living up on a mountain meant over an hour away could still be counted as near in some technical way. The next town closest to your town wasn't huge either. If someplace was anywhere around Golden Grove, it would be like Golden Grove, woodsy and halfway on a mountain. You'd have to drive half a day to reach an actual city. But you'd made the trip. You got to the store. You picked out your very first phone. It was smart. Your cell had a touch screen. There wasn't a keyboard with buttons or anything. This thing could do way more than calling and texting. You could play games, watch videos, and go online anytime, anywhere. The employee who helped you get it made sure to pile on the praise. Mama joked it might be time for her to upgrade, and then she had to politely let the worker down when they took that possibility far too seriously. This outing was about her daughter. After deciding the make and model you finally needed to answer that question Mama had been curious about the entire day. What color would it be? There wasn't every color in the rainbow in the shop, but they had more than 3 most common styles. So you picked black, silver, gold, white, red, purple, pink, blue, green. Is there going to be a case? If there's going to be will Kia get a red phone and a red case? If there's going to be a case, she would have a separate color phone and case, I think. I think the case would be red and the phone might be like, I don't know, pink, honestly. But if there's not a case, then she should be red. Let me see. Lucky for you, your favorite color of all time was in stock. The phone seller person made 110% sure that your new state-of-the-art device was ready for use before you walked out the door. You kept the basic settings, so it was simple. You even got to set a custom ringtone and the exact kind of notification beep you wanted. You turned all the default sounds to vibration instead. Yeah, she's gonna do the custom ringtone stuff. Yep. It was dark outside when you and Mama left. The car hummed as it zoomed over clear roads ahead. Here, take my phone. Add in some emergency contacts. I want you to have Mr. and Mrs. Lynn's numbers plus Mrs. Bauman's. And don't worry, I've got Tamarac's and Chiu's numbers in there. You can jot those down too. Made sense to you. Mama's cell was not smart. She had gotten the The non-touchable screen replaced pretty recently, though. The cracks got out of control. It had started to look entirely frosted over. With a phone in each hand, you pressed a button and tapped the front. The dual devices filled your face with light. It was captivating. It was slow going, clicking through Mama's contacts and punching the exact number over on a different phone. One by one, your people list filled out. The job was still done way before you'd gotten home, and Mama still had suggestions. Why don't you try messaging Tamarack or Chiyu? Let them know about this development. If you don't want to, I can make sure they're aware tomorrow. It's important that you can stay in touch. She wanted you to text them? Was that physically possible? You texted Tammy, you texted Autumn, you texted Tammy and Autumn. You just played around on your phone, you put the phone away. She's gonna text both of them. She's gonna text both of them. She's gonna text both of them. Your fingers were shaking. You'd used a phone before. You weren't 5. But that was always borrowing someone else's. This time, it was all you. You could say something to someone, and they could say something in response. And that could keep happening for eternity. Whatever you sent now would be your first official text for the rest of your life. Was this how it felt to really be a teenager? Probably. You started with Tamarack, you started with Chiyu. She's gonna start with Tamarack. Oh, look at these options. It's so funny. When I was playing the other one, the options were like on the screen. The very first time I saw them, I was like, yeah, read. Well, I was like, oh wait, these are the options. Oh, but look, isn't that so cute? This is like a cute little phone. Okay, hey Tamarack, this is Kia. Hello, sorry to bother you. I got a phone, had to add you and tell you. It's Kia, by the way, sorry. Tamarack, I got a phone. Smiley face. I know who you are, Tamarack Bauman. Tamarack heart. Guess who it is? I'm sending you my very first text. Tamarack, you're never gonna believe this. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I think she would say that. Sending you my very first text. That was horrible. What were you thinking? Tamarack was gonna think you were embarrassing. How could you delete a sent text? Biting your lip, you switched over. That's so funny. I think she would impulsively do that, and then I think it is possible she'd be like, "Wait, was that a bad first text?" Biting your lip, you switched over to Autumn's contact. You could message them while waiting for Tammy. Okay, so let's see. Hi, Chiyu. Hey, it's Kia. What's up, Chiyu? So sorry to annoy you. I have a phone, and my mama thought I had to tell you right now. This is Kia. You probably didn't know. Chiyu, my mama got me a phone. I know where you live, Chiyu Lin. Most people probably know where Chiyu lives in this town. Who do you think this is? Chiyu, it's amazing. Okay, so after the first one, she's gotta be like, okay, I sent Tamarack my very first one, my very first text. Now what do I say? I still don't think that she would. I think it's just a little bit lost on her to announce that who it is. To be completely honest, I think that she would kind of forget. I don't know. I don't know what to say now. Oh, I can't follow the same the same message pattern. Okay, probably one of these two though. I gotta. Me went over by a while. It is now dark outside. I was actually waiting for a call. Okay, anyway. Oop. Did I flip this already? Hang on, I'm gonna do a new coin because I don't know if I flipped it, and so I don't know if the coin was answering actually that if I flipped it. Okay. Okay. This one. This is the option we're going with. A Bing jolted you. You got a reply. Tammy saw your text. You left the single message. You left the single message to your chat to see what she'd said. Is this Kia? Yes. Oh gee. She was so loud, even with text. If you listened closely, you could hear the echoes of Tammy's gasp all the way from Golden Grove. But you couldn't say anything else back before you had a new unread message. She saw your text. You left a short Tamarack chat to see what they'd said. It simply read, "I'm blocking your number." They were not kidding. She wouldn't accept nonsense from some stranger. You didn't have time to lose. It's Kia, please don't block me. Did they get it? Was it too late? Nice try. Kia doesn't have a phone. I'm blocking you. Alright, now they were joking. They were such a kidder. You could imagine the exact smirk you had on their face. Cool, cool. Now I'm gonna have to actually look at my phone. You had a phone for 10 minutes and already had to juggle texting with 2 people at once. That felt pretty advanced to you. She and Tamarack both got the story of how all this happened in separate messages. I like that they put like a dotted line so you can just like assume that it's there. OMG, we can text all the time now. It's gonna be so much fun. More messages flew back and forth while the drive raced by. What was left of the night did too. Before you realized it, you were falling asleep, secretly up past curfew texting, tossing and turning in bed, staring at your bedroom ceiling. Let's see. Is she gonna text all night? She might fall asleep. Yeah, falling asleep. We'll wrap up this scene, and then I guess I should get off. After everything that happened, you were wiped out. Maybe she should have been the apologetic one. Well, you know, we'll see. We'll see in time. Me always. I usually my brain, you know. Sometimes you just gotta think back on what you did and think, was that the right option? She's still, you know. Did I read that? Tomorrow came too soon. Okay, I said I would wrap this in. So I guess this is where I should get, I don't want to. I want to keep playing, to be honest, but I should get off because I've been on for a minute now. And I still am waiting on something. I'm supposed to be, yeah. Anyways, so I guess that's a wrap for now. And tomorrow will be a mystery. Will I stream? Will I not? Will I play Our Life? Will I play a different game? We will find out tomorrow. Oh wait, before I get off, actually. Before I get off. It hasn't yet. Dang. Oh, but look at her. She's a little shy now these days. So I guess when we start talking to other people, we'll show. She's just a little shyer now these days. Yeah. Yeah, okay. Already saved. So I guess I'll just go to the menu. And there we have it. That is for today. I will be back with this game at some point. And I will be back on here at some point. I cracked myself up. Okay, well anyways, thanks for stopping by and joining me for playing more of the R Life demo. I'm having a lot of fun. And yeah. That is all for now. Thank you and goodbye.